Welcome back to Watch More Football. We're in episode 16, and we're all a bit sad this week because our teams didn't do so well. You're watching us in the Genre of Sports, the Genreverse Sports YouTube channel. Please give it a like and a subscribe if you can, because we are new. And tell us what you like, what you don't like. We'll try and do things differently as well if there's things that we could be doing different on there. While you're on, also take a look at the Genreverse YouTube channel. That's our main one, and it deals with lots to do with entertainment news. There's reactions on there, lots of cool podcasts and videos that you can watch about your favourite entertainment news. You'll also find that stuff in written form, if that's your thing, on lrmonline.com. Quite a lot of the stories written by me, actually, on there, from time to time. And we tend to discuss a lot of rumours, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, all that sort of stuff, all the kind of big geek franchises. So if you're into that sort of stuff, please feel free to check us out. Today we are talking about sport though, and we're focused on the Premier League. As always, I'm back with Mick, who looks normal this week, Dave, who's in the grave, and Ryan, who has decided to come dressed as an extra from the Super Mario Brothers movie. He is one of the unused designs for the Toad Mushroom people. Clearly. No, but Ryan is wearing the hat just beggars belief. I'm not going to lie, because you've got big hair, Ryan.
Yeah.
And with earphones as well, it just looks like a giant melon on your head. It's not round, it's just like a melon.
My mum made it for me, and it is genuinely massive. I can...
right, okay. I think, to be fair, though, I don't think you would get away with a normal-sized hat.
Yeah,
to be honest with you, but yeah, it's now correct me if I'm wrong, but because I don't know anything about this strange sport, it's rugby league that your team's playing, isn't it?
Yeah. So I didn't watch any football this weekend because I went up to Wigan to watch my Wigan Warriors play in the World Club Challenge against the champions of Australia, and it was a bloody good game. And what I would say is any football fan who thinks VAR means you can't celebrate a goal, go watch the end of the Wigan Warriors versus Penrith Panthers game, because it was drama. We celebrated
rugby league.
Yeah, we celebrated keeping Penrith out for a last-minute try that we tied up. We were literally counting down the last 10 seconds. 0 went, buzzer went. We kept out a try. It went up to the video ref, so we had a big cheer. And then 5 minutes of video ref, and then another cheer when they gave the decision, because they actually make a spectacle of it. So, yeah, that's what football can do.
Oh, right, sorry. I was having problems there because you were talking rugby league. Who cares? Anyway, on to football.
Now you know how I feel listening to you guys talk. Oh.
I mean, the office...
We can say the same, but we don't really have evidence to back that up at the moment.
Yeah. Also, I mean, the office still there if we need other sports on the Genreverse Sports channel. I'll quite happily run a one-man show podcast.
There you go. Cam, also...
One-man show podcast on rugby league.
I need a writing credit on this episode for those jokes you borrowed there, bud. Just so you know.
I mean, yeah, but that is how art works. That is how art works. If you hear something good, you steal it. That's just how it goes.
I just can't believe neither of you went for Where's Wally.
I never thought of it, but actually there is quite a Where's Wally look about you tonight. Anyway, let's do our predictions from last week and see where we ended up. Producer Kyle will put the previous predictions that we did on our picture on the screen at the moment, and then he will work through the results and how that affects our kind of standings at the moment. I should point out that Ryan and I both got a point from the Monday game that was on where we were recording last week. Mick and Dave did not get any points for that, so that gave me and Ryan an extra point at that point. That kind of gave me a 1 point lead, really. However, that lead has actually increased for me this week. So I get 8 points so far. Mick, you get 7. Dave get 8 as well. And Ryan only got 5, which is a shame because he thought he had done quite well getting 5 this week.
I think I got the first.
Predicted West Ham to win tonight? Anybody?
No, I had a draw for that one.
It's 2-0 to West Ham in the first 6 minutes. So.
Oh, I missed
I'm probably not getting a point tonight. What did you say, Ryan? Were you?
Well,
West
I
Ham
thought it was Luton tonight, so fuck knows what I'd put.
Jesus Christ, really?
Because you did it first last time, so you must have got it right on you.
Yeah.
I'll look back later.
It's just because I looked at the table and Luton had a game in hand.
But I can't remember what Dave predicted either. So we'll work all that out for next week. But how that affects the standings right now is that I'm on 51 points. Dave is in second on 50 points. Mick, you're in third on 49. And Ryan is 3 points behind you on 46 at the moment. So still close. And of course, there could be a 1 point swing, and we'll calculate that when we get to next week. So we'll talk about Premier League games first, and then we'll also talk about the EFL Cup game that happened as well. But to begin with, let's talk Premier League, because really, in terms of the title guys, nothing changed this weekend because all three title challengers won their games fairly comfortably. And the sad part about that is that really all of our teams lost this weekend. Dave's team lost a cup final. Newcastle got absolutely thumped by Arsenal 4-1 away.
Is that all we're talking about on that?
Sorry?
Yeah, that'll do. We don't need to talk anymore about that game.
We'll talk about it. Well, I will talk about it a little bit more. We'll get to it. It depends where we want to start. And Ryan, your team get beat as well. Man United get beat 2-1 off of Fulham, wasn't it? Fulham,
yeah.
At home. I mean, arguably that was the worst result of the weekend for all of us, because that was kind of a game at home against Fulham. You kind of expect to win that, probably.
I mean, obviously
we can start with you if you want.
I mean, if we start there at the start of last week, I thought we quite easily beat Fulham. Then the news came out on Thursday that Rasmus Højlund's picked up an injury of some sort, so he's out for 2 to 3 weeks. Luke Shaw's out for the season, basically.
Yeah.
And that really sort of puts a break on what we were doing good. And I know a lot of
is out for a while as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's basically out for the season as well. Martinez, but he was only back for like 2 games, so.
You're not really.
I've seen a lot of people say that, United are scraping wins, and I don't agree with it. We haven't been dominating games on this run, but we have been playing well with a certain play style. It's just not completely finished, and we are still letting teams into the game a little bit. But it's not I have to
say the last few weeks you've played quite well and won your games deservedly. I think before that I was saying that about you, that you were sort of scraping wins that I didn't know where you were getting.
A lot of the discourse over the last month, 6 weeks or so, has been similar to when we were picking up wins. That sort of funny time in like November where we had 5 wins from 5 and we won Manager of the Month, even though we were playing appallingly. A lot of people are liking it to that, and it hasn't been that. It hasn't been like a jammy Scott McTominay goal at the end, even though it was for Luke.
But do you think it is all down to the fact that Højlund's out and Shaw's out? And does that mean that ruins your season for there, or do you get a kick up the ass and you're better next week? I mean, I don't know what to expect for you guys.
I think it really puts the brakes on, because the reason we have been winning is because the front three of Rashford, Højlund and Garnacho have been sort of combining really well on the break. Shaw's been getting the ball up the pitch quite a bit, and he gets the best out of Rashford as well when he's playing. And as soon as the news that Højlund was out for a few weeks came out, I was like, right, well, that's it, because our attack's just not going to work. We haven't got
Shaw's a bit longer, right enough, okay, but it is only a few weeks with Højlund, and he has been in good form. So he's going to come back confident again. No.
Yeah, we were already quite a bit behind the teams. I know I was saying it was a gap that we could bridge, but those 3 weeks, I mean, we're already 8 points behind fourth. Just from one weekend, and I don't think that's because Villa won and we didn't. Spurs are yet to play, obviously. Next week we've got the derby, and I think even in the run that we were in, we'd still have to do something special to get anything out of that. And then it's the international break. So, but it's just our attack just wasn't working at all against Fulham, and it was still the same issues defensively that we have had during this run.
Do you think it's an issue when he's playing a centre back at left back instead of trying to just put a right back in there?
We haven't got a right back. That's the thing.
What's my word, Dallo? Is he actually playing right back?
Well, he's playing right back, but then who's going to play right back when Dallo's on left?
There's Wan-Bissaka injured as well.
he's injured. He's ill. Malasia's been out basically the entire season, and no one knows when he's going to be back fit. We thought going into January, we thought that Shaw and Malasia were both going to come back fit, so we sent Reguilon back to Spurs, which is not looking like a brilliant decision now. But obviously, we didn't know that Malasia was going to be injured again. But the front three against Fulham was Rashford down the middle, which doesn't work. Garnacho got put back on the left, and then we had Amari Forson, a young lad from the academy, on the right, and they weren't clicking. And equally, we weren't really trying to play on the break. We were trying to build it up, and it just wasn't going anywhere. So I don't think it's necessarily like proof that United's results previously were sort of false results. I think it's just all of the pieces that were put into place.
You kind of need
sort of falling down again.
First 11 to be there to get that.
And the thing is,
that's kind of
and that's
away.
always been the problem this season, is that if Højlund isn't doing it, we haven't got anyone who can, because Martial's always injured. Rashford is no good down the middle.
Martial's also pish.
Well, he's good for sort of half an hour every 3 games, but yeah.
Oh well, I guess when he can be bothered, trying occasionally.
So yeah, it was disappointing, but not unexpected. Once we knew that Shaw and Højlund were out, to be honest, I wasn't expecting the same. I still think I expected you still to play a little better, to find a way to try and beat Fulham, because I think Fulham were all over you. I wasn't watching the game because it was a 3:00 Saturday game. But Ryan
against a lot of
watching it next to a river somewhere of some kind. But and you were kind of giving us that Fulham were all over you, and that's what they were saying in Sky Sports News when I was watching it. But at the same time, I was saying to you that Fulham can't score. They do this to teams, and then they don't score any goals. And it kind of went that way for a while. So you've always get the chance to come back into it, but then
So what's interesting is the stats at the end of the game show that United had more possession, more shots, and more XG. But you watch the game, and Fulham were by far the better side. It's just they were getting into really good positions, and then the final pass just wasn't there.
So I don't like looking at stats and XG and all that crap. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know.
What I would say is, I was
poison, it's some people's champagne.
I was watching it through sort of less than legitimate means. And those means died as soon as the Fulham goal went in, the first one.
I do think
from what I watched on Match of the Day afterwards, we did sort of pick it up then. Harry Maguire, probably lucky not to be sent off in the first half, but actually had a really good game. He was sort of taking things by the scruff of the neck, and a big reason why we equalised. He scored the goal. Yeah, he
definitely should have been sent off.
He scored the goal, but he was really sort of taking the lead there in a way that he probably wasn't doing last season.
I mean, he's actually been playing quite well for you, considering how much of a joke he was at the start of the season.
Yeah,
but I think he should have been off. I don't think he meant it, but I think he should have went. That challenge.
I think, given what we've seen as red cards this season, he probably should have been sent off. I don't agree that sort of challenge should be a red, because he's just sort of stepping there and the guy's foot's got in the way. It's not. He's not gone in on him. He's just put his foot in the wrong place.
I think when it's...
And I don't like seeing red cards for that.
It's a red card
challenge. An accident's still a red
It's not
card.
even a challenge.
It was the same with Casido's and the Chelsea.
There's a challenge to go and get the ball. He's missed the ball.
Watch where your feet are going.
He's just stepping. He sort of lost the ball. He takes his next step and somebody's foot's there. And yes, that's been a red in other places. Caicedo yesterday, which you were saying about Cam, he literally went in on him.
Yeah, and he should have been sent off as well.
But to say that it's the same challenge is ridiculous. It's not the same challenge.
No, I don't think challenge. It's not the same challenge. I just think they were both
Maguire should have been sent off.
That's just my opinion. Yeah,
it's a red card offence.
Anywho, I think that. I think you're looking at Europa League at best this year. I don't think he'll make a push for the Champions League, which I've been saying for a while. So I'm not really changing my mind on that.
I was saying that the other day when the Højlund news came out. It just kills any momentum that we've had. And it was always going to be a push to get Champions League.
I think we have to also say we're in the same boat. I think you can say bye-bye to any
I'll take Conference League.
In fact, I mean, that's what I'm thinking at the moment as well, Mick. I think the best we could get this year is Conference League, which is 7th or 8th. I don't think we'll even make Europa League because I think although we're getting some injuries back, I think we've just lost all kind of momentum and shape at the moment.
We didn't have any.
We get beat 4-1 by Arsenal, and we were shit. We were really, really poor. The first half,
that's the worst we've played.
Arsenal absolutely dominated us and totally deserved everything that they got. Second half, we played a little bit better, but we were loose still and lost goals.
That's the worst we've played under Eddie Howe.
I put it in the chat. The only positives I could take, I don't know about you, Mick, is that we give some players some minutes that have been injured. So there's some players got on, but nobody got injured. Everybody took off and just got a few minutes to get back up to speed. And that we have got a bit of a squad back now to compete for places. But even with that, there's just, I don't know, there's something, the bite's not there that was last year. I think everything that's happened to us this year, going out of this competition, that competition, falling away for really competing for like top 4, top 5, I think it's kind of affected the players and they're a little bit down about it and they just don't quite have the bite that they did last year. So for me, our season's kind of done unless Howe can really focus them on a run for the rest of the season. We have got games that theoretically we can, I'm not saying we will win them, but we could win our remaining games. Our hardest game arguably is against you guys at Old Trafford, Ryan.
Against Man U at Old Trafford and Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. They were hardest games.
I mean, yeah, I guess Chelsea are on. Well, I don't know. Chelsea have got a bit more fun, but we've won at both Old Trafford and Stamford Bridge, I think, recently, haven't we? So
but they're still the hardest, probably on paper, the hardest games that we've got.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to say Spurs are above them both, but we've got Spurs at home, which I think kind of plays a bit more to our strengths. So it's. But those are our kind of overall toughest games. The rest are all teams below us.
You've got Wolves this weekend, and that's a tough game for anyone, I think.
It is a tough game. Yeah.
That's the thing. It's a Premier League. Every game, doesn't matter who you play. You don't think unless you're playing Sheffield United or Burnley.
Yeah.
Any team, you're like, I hope
I'd still say they were a tough game.
We should win, but you're never
Palace.
saying unless you're maybe City or Liverpool or Arsenal who are beating everybody. I think with everybody else, you're saying. Anybody can beat anybody on their day, and that's what it's been like. One of those seasons where sometimes people look good and then they just turn up one week and get absolutely smashed by somebody.
Ryan, we've got Blackburn away tomorrow in the FA Cup, and that's a freaking tough game.
Yeah. I mean, you would think we must be favourites to that, but you just don't know how they're going.
What I'd say is
the
mid-table at the minute is just massive. There's so many teams that are just like pure mid-table, and it gets to the point where like teams like Palace and Brentford are mid-table teams, but they're sort of near the drop still.
It's kind of who has the best run in at this point, and it's going to be a difficult one. But yeah, our team needs a bit of surgery in the summer. I think your team needs a bit of surgery in the summer. Yeah. There was a lot of drama when we played Arsenal last time. Really, the drama was all the fans, to be perfectly honest with you, and the manager. Really, the game was, we played quite well and stole 3 points off them because we annoyed them. We didn't do anything like that against them. I mean, we were just like bent over and said, right, come on,
Arsenal
and score as many as you want.
Arsenal played with the intensity that we played with last season.
Yeah.
Through that first half, we couldn't do it. Yeah, it was awful. I don't know where that team's gone.
The same ones the whole time. I think this season this is a bit of a write-off. We just need to also rub it out, get as high as we can, keep the players going, sell a few, buy a few in the summer, and reignite again for a new season.
Yeah, take the
Newcastle as well. With Newcastle as well, they're all just knackered because they were still playing that high-intensity football sort of October, November when they didn't have anyone.
Yeah,
it's the same 11 guys playing 100 miles an hour for 90 minutes for a good month or two.
I think
it's just catching up with them.
Have been fit or gassed. I think Miley looks dead in his feet. He hasn't looked that good the last few games, and I think for a 17-year-old to get asked to play 80 minutes, sometimes 90 minutes minutes every single week and compete at that level. He's done great, but he needs a break. He really, but there's, Willock's just come back, so it's a difficult one. But I think there's still some hard times ahead and some bad results for us this season.
I think Miley might get a rest tomorrow night. I think he'll start Willock. There was rumours of him asking Willock, like, how's he feeling? Is he ready to start? So I think he might rest Miley and start Willock.
You could bring Miley on, or if he can play a different formation. I've been saying this, they could play a different formation.
If Willock can come on and score against Arsenal, then he can start against Blackburn. That's rubbish, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue that. I guess you just don't want him getting back out again and injuring himself. But
I mean, that happened with Shaw, didn't it?
5 against Arsenal, and just tried to shut up shop and really frustrate them. And I just don't think we did anything. We just get beat. Anyway, the third game that we are going to talk about, the third game that we are going to talk about that happened was, Dave's not here obviously to discuss it, but his team Chelsea lost the EFL Cup Final to Liverpool, or one could argue they lost it to Liverpool's youth team by the end because they had brought on so many young players.
I'll disagree.
It did extra time. It was 0-0 the whole way, but I think. Did you both watch that game?
So I watched. Yeah, I mean, I watched bits of it. I had it on in the car on the way down on my tablet, but didn't. I wasn't driving.
Chelsea
just
not?
Legally speaking.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Whenever I was looking, I wasn't like 100% focused on it. But whenever I was looking at it, Chelsea seemed to be having the better chances. So I don't.
They were the better team throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
They had the best chances throughout the whole game. There was chances for Liverpool, don't get me wrong. It wasn't that Liverpool were absolutely terrible, I'm not saying that. But Chelsea were so wasteful in front of goal. It's unreal.
Some really good saves from Keller as well. The amount of balls
bouncing about that nobody could just get their foot on and get into the goal. It was unbelievable. And cost them the game in the end because Liverpool had one chance and put it away. Game over. I did think the Liverpool celebrations were almost like it was a Champions League final, right enough.
I mean, no, don't be. They've won an actual trophy, and half of the team had school the next day. I think they're allowed to celebrate it.
Well, see, that's my point, though. He was going on about his youth players and how they've managed to do this. I think you have to remember that Liverpool get the best youth players in the country. As do your Man United's, Man City's. They go out and they get the best youth players in the country from all around the country to come to them because of their name. So they always have a great academy, and some of their young players are really, really good. That's good for them as a club. But
pinch one of them off us.
Any youth player making it through to a Premier League side is a good player, but it's the head on the shoulders as well, and.
Sorry, can I just say though, you said against Liverpool's youth team. I'm trying to find something that I had seen, but actually Chelsea's starting 11 was younger than Liverpool's starting 11. Yeah, and the finishing 11 was younger than Liverpool's finishing 11. So who had the youth team?
So I think part of it was...
I've seen that argument, but I think that argument kind of fails a little bit when you look at how much those players cost and how much experience they have compared to the ones...
Well, see, I don't think they do have
the point is
I don't think they do have a lot of experience, and I think the point is Liverpool bringing on literal sort of teenagers for their first or second games ever. And they mix that with the likes of Van Dijk, the likes of Endo, Lewis...
senior players
who've sort of been around the block a bit, whereas Chelsea, they're all still sort of in the first few seasons of their career basically, and that's where the experience didn't come through. And I think as well it helped Liverpool that they brought on five academy lads, but those guys have been playing with each other their entire lives, so they half the job's already there if you've been playing with half that team anyway. And then you're playing with players.
I just don't think it's as big a thing as Klopp made it out to be, that it was some miracle. It was like the miracle of Wembley, and and it was kind of getting. They were starting to hype it up a bit too much for me, and I'm like, look, you won the Carabao Cup, well done. Of course, you're going to celebrate, but stop going on like it was some sort of miracle that should never have happened. I'm not sure I buy that.
Like how
Mick,
they had
yours
some
was a good point that Chelsea's team is actually younger.
Yeah, I mean, Liverpool had some big players out, definitely, and some of their best performers out. But Chelsea have got plenty of players out as well. So.
But it was a great chance for Chelsea that they blew. I think. That's the point.
Yeah, I think they should have won it.
Possibly there for the taking.
As Gary Neville called them, the blue $1 billion bottle jobs.
Blue billionaire bottle jobs. Yeah, I think is what he called them. It's hard to argue that because, I mean, I know they are short of a striker, but the amount of chances that they were just so wasteful for, and it wasn't even just always that they couldn't shoot. Sometimes they were making terrible decisions when there was a big scramble. It was like they were in panic mode. Just kick it towards the goal, a bunch of school kids, and just hope it goes in. And there was no nous to just lay a ball to the side and give somebody an easier finish.
How many times did the post and crossbar get hit?
Yeah, I think as well they're really good on the counter. They're really good at sort of slicing through the lines on the counter, and they've got really pacey wingers who can get on it. And then they get to the 18-yard box, and they're the only person there, so they stop dead. And not only are their teammates not coming to join them, but all of the defenders are, so they just sort of run into a cul-de-sac a bit. But
yeah, it's disappointing for Dave, I'm sure. That's not why he's not here tonight, guys, though. He is actually moving house today, which is, I think, a good excuse, which is why we didn't deduct him points either.
Yeah, I hope we see a new stand in the backdrop for him next week.
Instead of Stamford Bridge, it's like...
Give him that, maybe do that artist impression of Battersea Power Station that they were going to do a few years.
I wonder if producer Kyle might be able to work his magic and put it as Anfield.
Possibly.
What was that?
So I wonder if producer Kyle will be able to do something and put it as Anfield instead of Stamford Bridge.
So like basically change his background for him.
No, unfortunately not. I mean, I could. No, carry on.
Change his tombstone to a Tottenham Hotspur crest.
Sorry, what? Oh yeah.
Change his tombstone.
So the last thing that we really kind of want to talk about this week is that the relegation fight has, I wouldn't say heated up. It's got interesting in some ways, not because Burnley and Sheffield United have done anything. They're still crap. They're still going down and they still get beat every week. So we're cool with that.
At least a couple of Sheffield United players showed a bit of fight yesterday. Did you see that?
To a couple of players. That's good.
They had a scrap, didn't they?
Burnley players keep getting themselves sent off for crazy stuff. So
yeah. No, so a couple of Sheffield United players squared up in the first half against Wolves, against each other. Got to the point where VAR were looking at it. Yeah, full on bow your die sort of thing.
That's always bad. I've seen that before happen. I've seen that as a Newcastle fan when who was it?
Boya and Dyer.
David Boya punched
Lee Boya, Kieran Dyer
in the middle of the pitch.
Oh, the proper traded blows, man.
It's not the kind of thing you want to see.
No,
she already went over his foot region.
But I think
remember the story after that.
We want to talk about is that Everton got. We all know they had been deducted 10 points for breaking financial or PSR rules, sustainability rules. However, they did appeal that decision, and their points deduction has now been reduced to 6 points. How that affects the table is they were in the bottom three, and now they are basically 4 points better off than what they are. That actually lifts them out the bottom three, and it puts Luton back in. It was close as it was. This kind of puts them away by a few points.
No,
did anybody think that
they're only 1 point clear? And Luton
have got a game. Yeah. I think Luton's game in hand.
You're both talking at the same time. Luton's got a game in hand.
Yeah, and it's only 1 point. I think Luton's game in hand's against Tottenham, though.
Is it not? Oh no, it is Tottenham, isn't it? Because oh no, why would it be this weekend? No,
it's not this weekend.
It's 1 point. It's 4 points. Everton have got 25 points. Luton have currently got 20 points, guys. The table you've looked at is the table as it was before they get their 4 points back.
Okay.
BBC table.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it is,
I'll send Kyle a link to this so he can put it on the screen.
Yeah,
I've got the right one
think-
up. I've got the right one up.
You've got a table.
I think
up, all right.
what it does though is it drags the likes of Forest and Palace back into it, and Brentford are losing at the minute, so they're in it as well now, I think, to be honest. But I've got to say, Luton, for all they have been playing really well recently, they've got to pick up some results as well. They keep playing well against big teams and not winning.
Consistently lost a few games. Like since they did that wee run where they beat us, they beat in a couple of teams, and you thought, here we go, this is a big run.
Yeah.
Got a draw against Liverpool.
They just keep losing now. Whether it's at home or away, I think it's a tough one for them. I think the only thing that will save Luton, honestly, is if Forest and Everton get another points deduction, which is possible. And I think because they've set a precedent now of 6 points, I could see them both getting awarded 6 points. Now, that wouldn't be as bad for Everton as it would be for Forest, potentially. There's only a point between them at the moment, but that point could be a big difference. If both of them had to lose 6 points, Luton would be out the relegation zone again. Forest would be in it and Everton would be in 17th if that had happened. And it seems likely that will come in before the end of the season and there will be a points deduction. And I think it would be hard for the clubs to appeal it if they award them, they say 6, because there's already the precedent of it being set before. So I think it will happen. I think it's Forest that might come under. Everton have got that hoodoo that they just never seem to get relegated. I could see Forest being the one that goes because of this rather than Luton.
That's going to be really bad for Forest because their owner is not going to want to stick around and get them back out of the Championship. He's going to just sort of shut up shop, really, I think. So that could see
probably run away
with the amount of money he spent.
Yeah. So that could see them in a lot of trouble, to be honest.
Luton could cope with it better going down, actually, but I mean, it's not their problem. It's not Luton's problem, really.
Luton could go down in the way the squad's set up. They'll
come back up.
They'll walk the league next season. Yeah.
There's 4 points in it right now, so there's nothing to say Forest couldn't pick up 3 or 4 points.
They're not going to get anything. They're not getting anything.
Pick up any in the next few games, and then they get a 6-point reduction. And Luton are still behind. I mean, that could still happen, that Luton still go down no matter what happens with point deductions.
I don't think Forest are going to get any points this weekend.
Deductions at all, would anybody think Luton would survive if they all get their points back? I mean, Everton would be well at it. Forest would still be in it, but...
Yeah.
I can't see Forest getting any points this weekend.
No, they're going to get smacked.
No. Who are they playing this week?
Liverpool.
Oh, no. I don't see that happening. I'd love to see it happen. Because Liverpool, I don't like them, but, it's unlikely that it's going to happen. So it is, I think, the interesting fights at the moment are still, the title's still a 3-way title race. I think you've got Villa and Spurs competing for 4th and 5th, but really if they stay consistent, I think both of them finish 4th and 5th. It's just either way.
Yeah.
And then you've got maybe got us, Brighton, West Ham and yourselves kind of competing for
and Wolves,
the Mickey Mouse prizes below that.
Yeah, Wolves are sort of sitting around there, but I think
Wolves as well, Wolves as well are still in the mix 100%. And Chelsea really are still in the mix. I mean, if you look at where Chelsea's points are, they're not out of that.
Chelsea just can't put a run together, though.
I know.
Yeah.
And then we've got an interesting relegation fight, but I think it's made interesting by the point deductions, and it's going to be interesting to see if there is more and how it affects people, because it could come at the worst time. It could come when Luton a point ahead of Forest, and then Forest basically go 6 points behind them. That could be awful. It just depends how they do for here on in. Forest have definitely lost the new manager bounce. Like, they're back to being crap again.
I don't think they even really got it. I know they beat you guys in the first game, but that's about us. Yeah, but that's about all that happened, really, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah, but sometimes that's all you need. That one game that can be enough to get you up sometimes. You know what I mean? How many other teams have sacked their manager before they played us with the hope that they'll get the new manager bounce? It does happen almost every season to somebody.
That happened to us. That happened to United a lot last season as well.
Sunderland do it every time we play them. They sack the manager.
talk amongst yourselves for 2 seconds. Current situation come up.
Sunderland do it every time we play against each other.
Yeah.
They sack the manager and they get the new manager syndrome. And they go and beat where they tried it for the FA Cup, but it backfired.
And then they sacked him, didn't they?
Then they sacked the one that they brought in 12 weeks later.
So I know sort of legally we can't commentate on the game that's going on right now, but West Ham have got Paquetá back and they all of a sudden look like a proper team again, don't they?
Yeah, but really Brentford have looked a bit dangerous going forward. It's 2-1 at the minute, so yeah.
Yeah. Tony's a bit of a nuisance, isn't he?
We'll just do a watch along, Ryan.
Yeah.
Until Cam comes back.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Cam's hosting is just shit, isn't it, Mick? I think you should take
it's absolutely terrible, yeah.
I mean, fair enough. Basically, what happened there is a stray cat come in the house, and I can't let it get in, and because it's been in before and tried to like spray and stuff like that, and do things. So I had to get rid of it. It's quick, smart. So, hey ho. I think that's pretty much. We're at the point of doing our predictions for next week. Now,
you're in bastard Scotland. It's freezing up there. What's your door open for?
My door's not open. I've got a cat flap because I've got a cat, and I haven't locked the cat flap. So stray cats come in, and I'm on this.
You not just let your cat deal with
himself off my leg. My cat's an old man. My cat's older than my son. He's an old man that can't do anything now. He's deaf and blind, and he just sleeps on top of my head at night, and that's all he does now. Anyway, off the pets and on to let's do our predictions for next week and wrap up because we don't really have anything else that we want to talk about this week. So, predictions for the games coming up. A good angle there so I can actually see that. Look back of it. That's a bit better. Alrighty. So I'm also I've got Dave's here. We won't be able to see it if I had to put it up on the screen. But just evidence. Yeah. There is Dave's predictions for next week as well. Because he knew he couldn't make it this week. So, in terms of the games coming up, is there any you're particularly excited to see, or you think are ones that you want to watch?
I am going to spend Sunday afternoon hidden behind the sofa. I think I just don't. I don't see.
I mean, that's kind of the premium game, shall we say?
I don't see how that can be anything other than a painful experience with the players we've got out at the minute.
I don't think there's anything that really massively stands out, really, is it? Apart from the Manchester derby
game, Manchester derby. Yeah, but it's kind of I
can say
Luton going to put up Dave's in a better.
I mean, Arsenal are going to get another shitload of goals against Sheffield United. I think.
Yeah.
I think Luton might get something from Villa.
Yeah, I've put Luton to win that one.
I've picked the draw.
I haven't. I've put Villa to win because
Villa haven't won at Luton since 1989.
Well, that's because they haven't played Luton since 1989.
No, it hasn't. They've played them 5 times since then at Luton.
Well, still.
They've lost the last 2.
Every single week. But, every single week when Luton play, it's Luton haven't done this since 1989. It's like, yes, because that's the last time they were in the league.
They were in the Conference North.
It was like when Brentford beat us. It was like the first time since 1938 or something, and we must have played like half a dozen times in those 80 years.
Yeah, half a dozen.
That's good.
Whereas they were doing the stats for us versus when was the last time we had won at Arsenal's ground at the weekend, and we play them every year, and it was really bad.
Was it back at Highbury? Was it?
Yeah, absolutely. we haven't won at the Emirates at all since they built the new stadium. So we did get a draw last year, but that's the best we've had in a long time. So yeah, I think I've predicted a lot of wins. The only one that I've predicted that I think we'll only draw with Wolves. What do you think? Do you think we'll beat Wolves, or did you put Wolves to beat us?
I've picked us to win.
I've got Wolves beating you.
Picked us to win. Yeah, you've got.
I did, because
and I think Newcastle winning as well. Not sure.
I think we will have obviously these few players back, which are going to get a few more minutes again tomorrow. But we'll hopefully get that win tomorrow, which will kickstart with a bit.
Important question for the Newcastle Wolves game: is Dan Burns still at left back?
Well, he wasn't the last game.
Okay. I don't know. It wasn't. He didn't start against.
If he is,
Liverpool.
he's going to get roasted by Pedro Neto, and you're going to get battered.
Yeah.
We thought that about Diaby, but he put Diaby in his back pocket, didn't he?
I mean, to be fair, as good as Wolves have been, they are inconsistent like us. Sometimes they just don't turn up to games. They don't win every game. And we did just play Arsenal, who are in the best form of the season right now. So I think
another reason I went for that is because we've got a good record against Wolves at home.
We do, yeah.
Where I think we've won the last 3 out of 5 and drew the other 2.
We conceded too many goals, and I think we've all conceded.
I've
scored as well.
For some reason, I've got Everton beating West Ham 2-0, but seeing how West Ham are playing now, they got old mate Crisps back. I don't know that that's going to be true, but I've
got
now, so. Them
to beat West Ham. But I had it 1-1, and I changed it before we'd done the predictions to 2-1 to West Ham.
Sneaky. Anyway, we'll wrap it up there, guys. Hopefully.
Hang on. No, point of order, Mick. Did you send a picture of Everton drawing in the group chat?
Nope, I haven't put my predictions in yet.
I think we need to put them in.
Haven't put them in yet.
Away with it. It's a technicality, but he gets away with that, Ryan. So I have to back him up on that. He didn't send the picture. There was no evidence the first time.
I don't send my picture until after the show.
That's what I'm saying.
I think we sort of maybe need to rule on that. Maybe get a sort of hard deadline for your picture to be in.
Well, we're going to go to VAR about this now.
So we gave him.
We'll send it to an independent commission and have a result by the end of the season.
You wanted to deduct Dave points for moving house because it was his fault for picking a day that was on a podcast day.
Well, yeah.
He gets to pick it. Like, what day would you like to move house? That's how it works. The solicitors don't have any say in that.
Yeah, but you get to deduct the points for being sick when you can't control it.
I brought my laptop with me on holiday
and just sit there. That's how you do it. Like I did many times. That's how we do it. Anyway, we're just going to
help that I can get,
mate. So thanks, guys, for coming back. Thank you to everybody out there. If you watched us, please give us a like and a subscribe. Let us know what you like and what you don't like about the show. And please come back next week and watch us then. Hi, Rich. And everybody else see you later on. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.
Thank you. See you.